Did you know that a 72-year-old woman walked out of a first date after just 15 minutes last week? She'd been so excited to meet someone new after years of being alone. She'd spent days choosing the perfect outfit, hours getting ready, and weeks building up the courage to say yes when he asked her out. But within minutes of sitting down at the restaurant, she knew it was a mistake. Not because he wasn't nice or attractive, but because she'd forgotten how to date after all these years. The awkward silences, the uncertainty about what to share, the overwhelming feeling that she was doing everything wrong, it all became too much. She excused herself to the restroom and never came back, feeling defeated and certain she'd never try again. Dating after 70 isn't just about finding someone to spend time with. It is about navigating a completely new world with a lifetime of experiences behind you. The rules have changed, but so have you. And that is actually a good thing. Because at this stage of life, you know what you want, you understand what matters, and you don't have time to waste on connections that don't feel right. But here is the truth. Many seniors make critical mistakes on first dates that sabotage their chances before they've even begun. Some of these mistakes seem small in the moment, but they can completely derail what might have been a wonderful connection. Others are bigger missteps that come from years of habits and patterns that may have worked in your younger years, but now send all the wrong signals. In this video, we are going to explore 6 critical mistakes that seniors over 70 make on first dates. Mistakes that can leave you feeling disappointed, misunderstood, or even more alone than before. But more importantly, we'll talk about what you can do instead to create genuine connections that could lead to companionship, romance, or even love in this beautiful chapter of your life. Stay with me until the end, because the last mistake is something almost every senior does without realizing how much it pushes potential partners away. By recognizing these patterns now, your next first date could be the beginning of something wonderful rather than another disappointment. Now let us get started. If you're finding value in this information already, please click the like button below. It helps more people find this video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Mistake number 1. Dwelling too much on the past. One of the biggest mistakes seniors make on first dates is spending too much time talking about the past. After 70 years of living, you have countless stories, experiences, and memories. Your past relationships, your career accomplishments, your children's milestones, these are all important parts of who you are. But when you focus too much on what was, rather than what is or could be, you miss the opportunity to create something new. Think about Margaret, a 75-year-old retired teacher who went on her first date after losing her husband of 48 years. Throughout the entire dinner, she found herself talking about her late husband, their travels together, the house they built, even their daily routines and small traditions. She showed her date photos of their grandchildren and told stories about her teaching career from decades ago. Her date, Robert, politely nodded and smiled, but by the end of the evening, Margaret realized she knew almost nothing about him. She spent so much time in her past that she'd forgotten to be present. This happens because your past feels safe and familiar. When you were nervous on a date, it is natural to retreat to comfortable territory. The stories you were told many times, the relationships that shaped you, the life you've already lived. But your date isn't there to meet who you were, they were there to meet who you are now. What should you do instead? Create a balance between honoring your past and being open to your future. It is perfectly fine to mention previous relationships or important life events, but keep these references brief and relevant to the conversation. Instead of a detailed chronology of your marriage or career, share one meaningful story that reveals something about your values or personality. For example, rather than talking at length about your late spouse, you might say, "My husband taught me to appreciate classical music, which became a lifelong passion. Do you enjoy concerts?" This acknowledges your past while creating an opening to learn about your date's interests. Remember that your history is just one part of who you are. On a first date, focus more on who you are today, your current interests, what makes you laugh now, what you were looking forward to in the coming years. Ask questions about your date's present life and future hopes. Create a conversation that builds toward possibilities rather than one that stays rooted in memories. Your past deserves honor and respect, but your future deserves space to unfold. The person sitting across from you wants to know that there is room in your life for new experiences, new memories, and potentially a new relationship. Mistake number 2. Oversharing health problems. The second critical mistake many seniors make on first dates is turning the conversation into what feels like a medical consultation. After 70, it is normal to have health challenges: arthritis, heart conditions, medications, surgeries, Dr. S appointments. These are legitimate parts of your daily reality. But detailing your health issues too early can overshadow everything else about you and create a negative impression before your date has a chance to know the full, vibrant person you are. Consider James, an active 78-year-old who enjoyed golf, volunteering, and spending time with his dog. When he met Catherine for coffee, he was genuinely excited about the possibility of a connection. But within the first 20 minutes, he had already mentioned his 2 knee replacements, his cholesterol medication, his sleep apnea, and the back pain that sometimes limited his activities. Catherine, herself a nurse for over 40 years, found herself slipping into professional mode rather than seeing James as a potential partner. What could have been a romantic connection became, in her mind, another patient conversation. This happens because health concerns are often at the forefront of your mind at this stage of life. They affect your daily activities, your energy levels, and your plans. Talking about them feels natural and honest. Plus, there is a practical aspect. You might worry that not mentioning health issues early could feel like hiding something important. What should you do instead? Remember that a first date is about making a human connection, not a medical one. Your health is just one aspect of who you are, not your defining characteristic. Save detailed health discussions for when a relationship begins to develop. If health issues do come up naturally in conversation, perhaps when discussing activities you enjoy, acknowledge them briefly without dwelling on details. For example, rather than describing your arthritis symptoms at length, you might say, "I still love gardening, though I've had to adapt how I do it because of some joint issues. I've actually gotten quite creative with raised beds." Focus instead on the positive aspects of your life, your interests, passions, the people you care about, the experiences you enjoy. Share what brings you joy and energy rather than what limits you. This doesn't mean being dishonest about health challenges, just putting them in proper perspective. Remember, everyone at this age has some health issues. What matters more on a first date is how you live your life despite them. Show your resilience, your adaptability, and your continued enthusiasm for life. These qualities are far more attractive than perfect health. If you are still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you rehear. Your engagement helps this channel grow, and I truly appreciate your support. Now, let S continue. Vagi. Mistake number 3. Coming on too strong or being too cautious. The third mistake involves finding the right balance in showing interest. Many seniors swing to extremes on first dates, either coming on too strong or being so cautious that they appear completely uninterested. Both approaches can quickly end what might have been a promising connection. Let S.A. look at 2 examples. First, there's S. Eleanor, a 73-year-old who hadn't dated in over a decade after her divorce. When she finally met someone who interested her, she was so excited that she overwhelmed him. Within the first hour of their date, she asked about his retirement savings, suggested meeting his children, mentioned taking trips together, and hinted that she'd been lonely for too long. Although she meant to show genuine interest, her date felt rushed and pressured, and he never called for a second date. On the opposite end, there was William, 76, who was so afraid of appearing desperate or getting hurt again that he maintained a cool, detached demeanor throughout his coffee date with Sylvia. He kept conversations surface level, rarely smiled, and was so concerned about not appearing too eager that he didn't even tell Sylvia he'd enjoyed meeting her. She left thinking he wasn't interested at all, when in fact he'd been quite drawn to her. This happens because dating at this age carries both heightened hope and heightened fear. After 70, time feels more precious. Loneliness may have been a companion for years. The desire for connection can be intense, making it tempting to rush. Conversely, past heartbreaks and losses can make the risk of emotional vulnerability seem too great, causing excessive caution. What should you do instead? Aim for authentic interest without expectations. Show genuine curiosity about your date as a person, not as a solution to loneliness or a guarantee of future companionship. Ask thoughtful questions and truly listen to the answers rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. Express appreciation for the date itself. I'm really enjoying our conversation, or it has been lovely getting to know you a bit, without jumping ahead to future plans. If you've enjoyed yourself, say so clearly before parting. I've had a wonderful time and would enjoy seeing you again. This expresses interest without pressure. Remember that genuine connection develops naturally over time. A first date is just an introduction, an opportunity to discover if you would like to know more about each other. It is perfectly fine to hope for a relationship, but focusing too much on the future can prevent you from being present for the moment you're actually in. The most attractive quality at any age is authentic presence, being fully engaged in the conversation, showing real interest in the other person, and being honest about who you are without either overwhelming or underwhelming your date. Trust that if there is a genuine connection, it will unfold at its own perfect pace. Nakajaris mistake number 4, neglecting your appearance or going overboard. The fourth critical mistake seniors make involves appearance, either not putting enough effort into how you present yourself or trying so hard that you no longer look or feel like yourself. Both approaches send unintended messages that can undermine a promising connection before it begins. Consider Thomas, a 74-year-old widower who always relied on his wife to help with his clothing choices. For his first date in over 50 years, he grabbed the first things he saw: an old stained sweater, pants that no longer fit properly, and shoes that hadn't been polished in years. He didn't bother to trim his beard or comb his hair carefully. His date, Grace, was immediately struck not by his charming personality, which he had in abundance, but by the impression that he hadn't considered their meeting important enough to make an effort. Then there is Patricia, 71, who was so anxious about her date that she barely recognized herself in the mirror afterward. She'd bought an outfit that felt too young for her, applied makeup much heavier than her usual style, and even borrowed her daughter ES perfume, which she found overwhelming. Throughout the date, she felt uncomfortable and inauthentic, constantly worried about how she looked, rather than focusing on the conversation. This happens because appearance takes on complex dimensions after 70. Physical changes from aging can affect confidence, making some seniors feel that effort is futile. Others worry so much about making a good impression that they abandon authenticity for what they think their date wants to see. Both approaches stem from insecurity, but express it differently. What should you do instead? Aim for a well-groomed, authentic presentation that shows you value both yourself and the occasion. This doesn't mean hiding your age or trying to look decades younger. It means being the best version of your current self. Choose clean, well-fitting clothes that make you feel confident and comfortable. Pay attention to details like neat hair, trimmed nails, and fresh breath. If you wear makeup, keep it natural and enhancing rather than transformative. The goal is to look like yourself on a good day, not like someone else entirely. Remember that at this stage of life, confidence and comfort are far more attractive than perfection. Your date doesn't expect you to look like you did at 40, and trying too hard to achieve that can actually highlight insecurities rather than disguise them. The most attractive quality in your appearance will be the care you've taken, combined with the comfort you feel in your own skin. When you feel good about how you look, you're able to focus outward on your date rather than inward on your insecurities. That relaxed confidence creates the space for genuine connection to develop. If you were still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you'll be here. Your engagement helps this channel grow, and I truly appreciate your support. Now, let us continue. Task mistake number 5, focusing too much on the past or too much on differences. The fifth mistake many seniors make on first dates is either getting stuck comparing everything to the past or becoming fixated on differences rather than connections. Both mindsets can prevent you from seeing the unique person and potential relationship right in front of you. Let us look at Helen, a 73-year-old who had been in a loving marriage for 42 years before her husband passed away. On her first date with Richard, she found herself making constant mental comparisons. Richard didn't laugh at the same kind of jokes her husband had enjoyed. He ate more slowly. His opinions on politics were different. By the end of the date, Helen had decided they were not compatible. Not because of who Richard actually was, but because he wasn't alike her late husband. Then there is David, 77, who went on a date with Marilyn. When he discovered she preferred classical music to his beloved jazz, never watched the sports teams he followed, and had different religious views, he became so focused on these differences that he missed all the important values they shared: their love of family, their enjoyment of nature, their volunteering spirit, and their similar sense of humor. What could have been a wonderful relationship never got a chance because David couldn't see past surface-level differences. This happens because both comparison and focusing on differences are protective mechanisms. Comparing a new person to someone from your past feels safer, the known versus the unknown. Similarly, spotting differences gives you reasons to maintain emotional distance, protecting you from potential disappointment. While understandable, both approaches prevent you from truly seeing the unique individual before you. What should you do instead? Practice present moment awareness and look for points of connection rather than division. Each person you meet is unique, not better or worse than those from your past, just different. A new relationship 1T. Replace what you had before. It will be its own distinct experience with its own gifts. When you notice yourself making comparisons or focusing on differences, gently bring your attention back to the person in front of you. Ask yourself, am I really seeing this person clearly, or am I seeing them through the lens of my past? Remember that in healthy relationships, some differences are not just acceptable, but beneficial. They bring new perspectives and experiences into your life. Look for shared values rather than identical interests. You don't need to enjoy all the same activities or hold all the same opinions to build a meaningful connection. What matters more are core values like kindness, respect, honesty, and a similar approach to life's challenges. Remain curious rather than judgmental about differences. Ask questions to understand your date's perspectives better rather than immediately deciding they were incompatible with yours. Some of the best relationships combine areas of comfortable similarity with the growth that comes from respectful differences. Remember that at this stage of life, the goal isn't finding a perfect match to your requirements. It is finding someone whose company enhances your life and who values the authentic person you are today. Mistake number 6, not being clear about what you want. The sixth and perhaps most damaging mistake seniors make on first dates is lack of clarity, both with themselves and with their date, about what they are actually looking for in this stage of life. This lack of clarity leads to confusion, mismatched expectations, and often unnecessary disappointment. Consider Martha, a 76-year-old who enjoyed her independence but wanted companionship for activities and events. When she met George, she was so worried about seeming demanding that she never expressed her desire for a relationship that maintained separate homes and considerable independence. George, assuming she wanted a traditional living arrangement like his previous marriage, started talking about eventually combining households. Martha panicked, feeling trapped, and ended what could have been a perfectly compatible relationship if only she had been clear from the start. Then there is Harold, 80, who deeply missed the physical and emotional intimacy of marriage. On his date with Irene, he avoided any mention of wanting a romantic relationship because he feared seeming inappropriate at his age. He spoke only about wanting friendship, though in his heart he hoped for much more. Irene, taking him at his word, decided they would be good friends but didn't see him as a romantic prospect. Harold was disappointed when the relationship never developed beyond occasional friendly outings, yet he'd created this very situation by not being honest about his desires. This happens because many seniors feel uncertain about what's appropriate to want at this age, or they fear rejection if they express their true desires. Some worry about seeming too needy if they want companionship, while others fear seeming too independent if they value their space. These concerns lead to vague communications that confuse both parties. What should you do instead? Before even going on dates, reflect honestly on what you truly want at this stage of life. Are you looking for companionship without romance? a romantic relationship with emotional and physical intimacy, a marriage, a living together arrangement or separate homes, weekend companionship or daily contact. These are all valid desires. What matters is your honesty with yourself about them. Once you are clear internally, be gently transparent with your date when the time feels right. This doesn't mean laying out all your relationship requirements in the first 5 minutes, but as connection develops, find natural ways to share what you were looking for. For example, after living alone for 10 years, I've come to value my independence, but I miss having someone special to share experiences with. Or, I've realized how much I miss the closeness of a romantic relationship in my life. Remember that clarity isn't about making demands. It is about honest communication that allows both people to assess compatibility. It is far kinder to be truthful early than to create confusion that leads to hurt feelings later. And most importantly, understand that what you want is valid, whatever it may be. At this stage of life, you have earned the right to seek the kind of relationship that truly brings you joy, not the one you think you were supposed to want or the one others might expect of you. If you are still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you here. Your engagement helps this channel grow, and I truly appreciate your support. We've covered 6 critical mistakes that seniors often make on first dates after 70. Dwelling too much on the past, oversharing health problems, coming on too strong or being too cautious, neglecting appearance or going overboard, focusing too much on the past or differences, and not being clear about what you want. But here is what I want you to remember. These mistakes don't define you, and they certainly don't determine your future. Each new date is an opportunity to connect differently, to show up more authentically, and to open yourself to possibilities that might surprise you. Dating after 70 isn't about recreating your past or finding someone who fits a perfect checklist. It is about discovering meaningful connection in this rich, complex stage of life. You bring so much to a relationship now: wisdom, life experience, perspective, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. These are precious gifts that make dating at this age potentially more rewarding than ever before. The truth is, there is an extraordinary freedom in dating at this stage of life. You are no longer building a family or a career together. You are no longer bound by the expectations and social pressures that may have shaped your younger relationships. Instead, you have the freedom to create exactly the kind of connection that brings joy, meaning, and companionship to your life, whatever form that takes. I want to share one last story with you. Clara, at 82, had been widowed twice and divorced once. She'd known great love and devastating heartbreak. When she met Edward, 85, at a community event, she approached their first date with all the wisdom of her years. She didn't hide her past, but she didn't dwell on it either. She mentioned her health challenges briefly when relevant, but focused more on her daily joys. She expressed genuine interest without rushing, took care with her appearance while remaining authentic, looked for connections rather than differences, and was gently clear about wanting companionship with emotional intimacy, but separate homes. That first date led to a second, then a third. Today, 5 years later, Clara and Edward share a deep bond that enriches both their lives immeasurably. They spend weekends together, travel occasionally, and support each other through health challenges, while maintaining the independence they both value. Clara often says that it's the most honest, uncomplicated relationship she has ever had, precisely because they both brought the wisdom of their years to it from the very beginning. Your next first date could be the beginning of something beautiful. Not because it's perfect, but because you bring your full, authentic self to it, with clarity about what you want and openness to the unique person before you. Every mistake we've discussed today is really just an opportunity to connect more genuinely on your next date. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and give yourself permission to experience the joy, butterflies, and possibility of a first date again. Because love and connection don't have an expiration date, they just evolve into something richer and more meaningful with the wisdom of your years. Thank you for joining me today. If you found value in this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might benefit. Your support helps this channel continue creating content that informs, inspires, and empowers seniors to live their fullest lives. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Have you made any of these dating mistakes? Or perhaps you have your own wisdom to share about finding connection after 70. Your stories and insights, they just help me create better content. They create a community where we can learn from each other. Until next time, remember that every stage of life brings its own gifts and possibilities. This chapter may hold some of your most authentic connections yet.